You know what's interesting about presidential races? Anytime a new candidate enters a race, they get a bit of a bump. We saw it on the Democratic side with both Marianne Williamson and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. As soon as they announced, they got a little bump in the polls. We've seen it on the Republican side. I mean, Nikki Haley, as soon as she announced she was running, she jumped into double-digit support. But the thing is, and you can look at the polls and verify this about all these folks, that bump never lasts. Eventually, the bump goes away. Sometimes it only takes 2 or 3 weeks for that announcement bump to go back to what it was prior. And every now and then, you get the weird outlier, the person who is apparently just so hated that they don't get a bump in the poll at all. That's rare. But I'll tell you what's even rarer than that is the person who not only doesn't get a bump, but announces their presidential race and then actually loses support immediately. I've never seen that until now, because that is exactly what happened with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. When DeSantis made his botched presidential announcement on Twitter, it was expected that he was going to get a bump in the polls, right? At the worst, his support level would have remained the same, right? No, not for DeSantis. Not for how disgusting this little character is, because according to the polling data, after DeSantis announced he was running for president, he actually lost support from the public. Like, more people disliked him once he said he was running for president. I've never seen that. Like, I have not seen that, at least that I remember, in my years of covering electoral politics here in the United States. That has to be one of the worst omens for a candidate that I have ever seen. In fact, we are 6 months into this year now. We're into the 6th month. And in the last 6 months, Ron DeSantis' approval rating has fallen by 19 points. He's now at a net negative 19% underwater in his approval rating because his approval rating flipped. It went from approval in the 50s to disapproval in the 30s to approval in the 30s to disapproval in the 50s in 6 months. And when he announced that he was running for president, it got worse. But don't worry, you say, right? DeSantis is still hauling in tons of money. Well, that's true. But there's another poll from CNBC this week that tells us that, Ron DeSantis is losing the support of the donor class that is defecting from him back to Donald Trump. Now, earlier this year, a lot of the millionaire Republican donor class had defected from Trump to DeSantis. And then everybody got to know who DeSantis is, so a lot of these millionaires have now said, oh, screw this guy. I'm going back to the crazy man, the corrupt guy, because this guy is just worse. Here's what happened. Only 32% of millionaire Republicans now support DeSantis as the GOP nominee, which polls individuals with 1 million or more in investable assets, according to the survey. That marks a large drop from the 54% who backed DeSantis at the end of 2022. More respondents are getting behind former President Donald Trump. He has the support of 28% of Republican millionaires, narrowly trailing DeSantis. The share of Republican millionaires backing Trump jumped from 17% at the end of 2022. So DeSantis lost 20%. Donald Trump gained, 11%. So we're already starting to see those shifts. These Republican millionaires who wanted nothing to do with Trump, he was not as good for them as they wanted. They thought DeSantis could do it. And they've watched all year long as his approval rating drops, as his standing in the Republican polls drops. And they're like, no, I'm not going to do it. Now, he still has a majority of them. Don't get me wrong. I understand numbers. He's got a majority of them, but he's still losing support. And once he loses those millionaires, DeSantis is screwed, because DeSantis' campaign relies on the big money Republican donors. Donald Trump does not. Donald Trump is getting his money from the small individual donors out there in America. So if DeSantis keeps losing the big money people, not only is his support going to continue to drop, but he's going to run out of campaign cash pretty dang quick. This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.